At 0710 local time, a Tomahawk missile erupts from the deck of the USS Spruance and starts screaming towards the country of Iran. Then the booster falls away, and a turbofan, the size of a coffee table, spools to life, and the Tomahawk drops very low indeed. The missile maintains a height of exactly 50 feet above the waterline to remain hidden from the sophisticated Iranian coastal radar surveillance systems now. Exactly 4 seconds later, the next vertical launch cell fires. Then the next. Then the next. As the massive naval bombardment begins in earnest today. The largest American military operation since the 2003 invasion of Iraq has just officially started, with a powerful show of naval force. And the leadership of Iran was about to find out firsthand why Americans do not have free healthcare due to their massive military budget nowadays. Within 90 seconds, 8 missiles are gone from the ship, leaving trails of fire and smoke as they accelerate toward their distant coastal targets fast. 300 meters northwest, 2 other destroyers are running the same drill, launching more missiles that add to the growing swarm of lethal weapons now. 25 Tomahawks now race their radar altimeters along the wavetops, threatening between Iranian coastal surveillance stations on routes designed to exploit every known gap. The flight time to the IRGC naval bases on Iran's southern coast is 40 minutes. And yet nobody in Iran has any idea they are coming. Somewhere on the Gulf Coast, an Iranian radar operator is probably drinking tea and watching a blank scope, with no awareness of the danger today. He has about 39 minutes of peace left before the Tomahawks arrive. But these cruise missiles are known to be patient and very slow. Flying at 550 miles per hour across open water means 40 minutes of exposure where a single radar ping could compromise everything. Everything now depends on what crossed the border ahead of them to clear the path and confuse the enemy air defense operators along the coast. Already inside Iranian airspace, a wave of Lucas drones is doing something no American weapon has ever done before in a real combat situation currently. An Iranian air defense operator at a Bavar 373 battery watches a dozen slow-moving contacts materialize on his radar scope now. These targets are pushing inland from the coast at barely 110 knots, making them appear like a very strange and confusing threat. He cannot tell which ones carry 40-pound warheads aimed at his radar antenna and which ones are just simple electronic noise or clever decoys. So he does the only thing his training allows and fires an interceptor that streaks off the rail at 3 times the speed of sound. The interceptor costs over $1 million, and it tracks a drone the size of a lawnmower before turning it into a cloud of confetti. But it was not a Tomahawk missile that was destroyed. What you just saw blow up was a low-cost, unmanned combat attack system drone. These Lucas drones are operated by Task Force Scorpion Strike and are manufactured by Spectral Works in the city of Mesa, located in southern Arizona. They were reverse-engineered from captured Iranian Shahed 136 drones and only cost $35,000 to produce each unit. And right now, these inexpensive machines are the most important aircraft over Iran, forcing the enemy to waste their limited supply of expensive missiles today. The Iranian operator fires again, another $1 million wasted. And again, as the sky becomes a graveyard for cheap but effective American decoys. Now, today, this is cost exchange warfare at an industrial scale, where every interceptor that chases a drone cheaper than a pickup truck is a loss today. Every single missile spent now is one fewer in the magazine when 25 Tomahawk cruise missiles show up in exactly 30 minutes later today. Worse, every time that battery fires, it broadcasts its exact position to the passive sensors on the F-35s, now crossing the Iraqi border very soon. That operator is spending his precious ammunition and painting a giant target on his own forehead at the same time, for all to see clearly. But the Iranian air defense commanders, celebrating their small wins, are about to discover something very terrifying about the incoming wave of advanced weapons now. Those interceptors they just burned through so quickly, they were going to need every single one of them in about 25 minutes from now. Because what crossed the Iraqi border next was not a $35,000 drone, but something far more lethal and much more sophisticated. Today, 12 F-15 IROMs had been climbing east through Iraqi airspace for 90 minutes, tucked behind a screen of F-35I Adirs running silent ahead of them. These stealthy aircraft are equipped with electronic warfare suites that passively catalog every radar emission along the Iranian border, while broadcasting absolutely nothing at all. The ROMs flew in the electromagnetic shadow of their leaders, each one hanging heavy with a powerful Rampage missile slung under the fuselage centerline. At 0805 local time, the formation reaches its designated launch altitude over the rugged terrain of western Iraq to begin the strike. The lead weapons officer in the back seat has been watching his targeting display update for the last hour, with high-precision data feeds now. Coordinates were refined 3 times via Link 16 from an Israeli Orion intelligence aircraft circling safely over Jordan to ensure the highest accuracy possible now. He confirms the final solution on his screen. The pilot squeezes the release, and 2,500 pounds drop away into space. Now, the ROM jumps, its nose pitching up from the sudden weight loss as the fly-by-wire system compensates before the pilot can even react. Below the jet, the solid rocket motor lights with a fierce glow, and the weapon punches through the sound barrier in just a few seconds. The pilot can see the wide exhaust plume shrinking in his rearview mirrors as the missile climbs away on a steep ballistic arc fast. 11 more ROMs release their lethal cargo within seconds of each other, creating a volley of 12 weapons now accelerating beyond any known defense today. These missiles are now arcing east toward Tehran at speeds that make interception nearly impossible during this critical phase of their high-speed flight path. A Tomahawk launched from Iraq needs 45 minutes to reach Tehran, but these advanced weapons need only a few minutes to hit their targets. That narrow time gap is the entire ballgame, because 45 minutes gives Iranian radar operators plenty of time to detect and track targets. However, a flight time of only minutes gives them just enough time to watch the impact on the news before the buildings actually collapse. Now, spent rocket boosters will soon tumble into dusty fields across eastern Iraq, where local analysts will photograph them within a few hours of the impact. Right now, 12 warheads are converging on Pastor Street, while the Tomahawks are still 10 minutes away from the Gulf Coast and its naval bases. The air defense batteries that the Lucas drones have been emptying all morning are finally running out of things to shoot at this very moment. At 0810, everything arrives at once, as the standoff weapons hit first, with supersonic warheads arriving with functionally zero warning time. Today, now. The office of the Supreme Leader on Pastor Street takes multiple direct hits as building structures crumble under the intense pressure of the sudden explosions. An Airbus satellite passing overhead captures the aftermath, where several buildings inside the compound are reduced to broken concrete and rising smoke columns right now. Within minutes, the F-35I Adirs stealth fighters cross the border, carrying JDAMs and GBU-39 small-diameter bombs to finish the complex mission. Today, right now, this is where the F-35 sensor fusion earns every dollar of its price tag, because the pilot has a complete view of everything very clearly now. The pilot rolling in on the Ministry of Defense does not flip between radar screens or infrared feeds because the computers merge everything into one display. The jet combines its own sensors, Link 16 data from every aircraft, and real-time satellite imagery into one single and very clear picture today. He sees every Iranian radar still operating within 200 miles, every friendly aircraft, and the exact GPS coordinates of his primary targets right now. It is like driving with a GPS that shows every traffic camera, speed trap, and pothole, all updated in real time for him right now, today. Iran spent 30 years building an integrated air defense network, but the F-35 turned it into a highlight reel for the whole world very clearly. He rolls the Adir onto its back at 25,000 feet, pulls the nose down toward the Ministry of Defense, and releases many lethal bombs. The GBU-39 weapon is only 250 pounds, which is a quarter the size of a standard JDAM used by most modern fighter jets. However, its GPS-guided diamond-shaped wings let it glide over 40 miles from the release point with incredible accuracy and silent flight path. Now, at this range, the circular error is measured in single-digit feet, ensuring the weapon hits exactly where it was intended by the skilled pilot. The SDB punches through the ministry roof and detonates on a delayed fuse inside the third floor, where the military planning documents are safely kept. Across the city of Tehran, the pattern repeats itself, as the Ministry of Intelligence and the Atomic Energy Organization headquarters are targeted for complete destruction. The Pachin military complex is also hit, because it cannot be rebuilt quickly, relocated, or replaced from any existing backup systems in the entire country. The F-35s are not hitting random government buildings, but are instead severing the administrative nervous system that connects the Iranian military leaders together right now. They are effectively cutting off the field units from their intelligence and the nuclear bureaucracy that has been built up over many long years today. But every minute the F-35s spend over Tehran, their fuel ticks down, and their exposure to potential threats grows with every passing second. Right now, and from the rugged mountains of western Iran, the most capable air defense system is beginning to track every single one of the stealthy jets. This system is the one the Lucas drones have not reached yet, and it represents the last line of defense for the Iranian capital city. 700 meters south of the thick smoke over Tehran, the Tomahawks finally reached the coast and prepared to strike their primary naval targets. The first warhead hits the Oalua IRGC naval base at 08:12 hours local time, causing massive structural damage to the main command building. The command building folds inward from the force of the blast, while the fuel storage behind it catches fire and creates a massive explosion. A column of thick black smoke punches straight up through the heavy morning humidity, signaling the total destruction of this critical naval facility today. 4 minutes later, an F-15E Strike Eagle from the 48th Fighter Wing forward deployed to Jordan rolls in from the north sky quickly. The weapons systems officer in the back seat has been staring at this specific target for 40 minutes on his advanced radar display screen now. He is targeting a hardened concrete shelter on the waterfront with a half-moon roof designed to protect the fast attack boats stored inside. These are the boats that Iran built to swarm the Strait of Hormuz, designed to sprint out in packs and overwhelm many large cargo ships. Each boat is 50 feet long and armed with machine guns and rocket launchers to harass oil tankers and United States naval vessels alike. Nobody is sprinting anywhere today, as the Strike Eagle designates the shelter and confirms the GPS lock for the heavy GBU-31 bomb. 2,000 pounds of high explosives drop off the centerline station, and the JDAM tail kit deploys its 4 grid fins to steer accurately. The fins adjust 10 times per second, steering a slab of triangle and hardened steel toward a roof built to stop only small shrapnel. The bomb punches through the concrete arch and detonates inside the shelter, creating an overpressure that the walls cannot possibly contain for long. The walls blow outward, and the roof pancakes down onto the boats like a giant fist closing, ending the threat to the global economy. The Strike Eagle is already climbing and pulling 5 Gs back to altitude when the officer confirms the hit on his targeting pod footage. Below them, The Strait of Hormuz sits open and quiet because the boats that were supposed to choke it are now burning remains today. 500 miles east, the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln is making 30 knots into a headwind to launch its next wave of jets. On the flight deck, an F-15E Super Hornet from the Black Aces sits on Catapult 1 with both engines at full military power. The catapult officer drops to one knee and touches the deck. The shuttle fires and the jet reaches high speed in 3 seconds flat. 4 Gs shove the pilot's spine into the ejection seat hard enough to test his physical limits as he climbs into the morning sky. The Black Aces are headed for Chabahar, which is Iran's only deep-water port located on the vital Gulf of Oman to the south. The lead Hornet rolls in on the submarine pier with a GBU-31 JDAM, while his wingman targets the nearby dry dock facility next. If you cannot fuel a submarine or repair it, then it might as well be an expensive lawn ornament sitting uselessly in the water. A third pair of Hornets targets the Charlie 802 anti-ship missile battery on the coastal bluff that could threaten many coalition warships. Across the Gulf Coast, the coordinated strike has now hit Asaluya, Chabahar, and Bandar Abbas, home to many Iranian Kilo-class stealthy attack submarines. 500 miles north, the F-35 over Tehran are running low on fuel, and the air defense system in the western mountains is now coming alive. 3 hours into the operation, the weapon Iran was counting on finally gives itself away to the sophisticated sensors of the patrolling coalition aircraft today. After Israel dismantled the Russian-supplied S-300 batteries, Iranian engineers built a domestic replacement called the SA-65 Mobile Phased Array Radar System. Right now, they positioned it in the Kermanshah Mountains, guarding the western corridor that Israeli jets have been using all morning for their heavy strike missions. An EA-18G Growler from the Lincoln Air Wing catches the first emission, as the SA-65 search radar has been pulsing intermittently for several long hours now. The battery commander makes the decision every operator dreads and switches to fire control mode with full power to attempt a lethal shot right now. The moment he transmits, he is finished, because the Growler's next-generation jammer floods his tracking frequency with enough power to cause total, complete chaos. Simultaneously, an F-35 that has been mapping that emission passes the precise grid coordinates via link 16 to a waiting Super Hornet orbiting nearby today. An AGM-88 missile drops off the pylon, lights its motor, and accelerates to nearly Mach 3 toward the now exposed enemy radar position. Very fast indeed. The missile's multi-mode seeker does not care if the radar shuts down, because it already knows exactly where the target is located right now, today. 12 F-22 Raptors from Joint Base Langley Eustis now get the call to push deep into Iranian airspace to establish total and complete air dominance. These advanced stealth jets are equipped with the most effective electronic warfare suite ever mounted onto a fighter to listen to every hidden enemy signal. The Raptors catalog central Iran, while the Navy dismantles the Gulf Coast, and the most desperate contest of the day is playing out now, today. 30 F-15I ROMs, loaded with Rafael Spice glide bombs and Delilah cruise missiles, have fanned out across 3 provinces to hunt mobile missile launchers today. An IRGC crew can drive a Shahab 3 out of a tunnel, launch it, and drive back underground in under 30 minutes to avoid detection fast. Finding a specific missile launcher in the mountains of western Iran is like finding a specific food truck in the middle of New York City. One Iranian TEL is caught mid-sequence in a narrow valley, with ground crews visible at the base connecting the last fuel umbilical lines right now. The Rafael Spice glide bomb drops off the pylon, and extends its wings to steer down the valley on a trajectory calculated for maximum impact. The warhead detonates at the junction of the launcher rail and the truck chassis, igniting 3 tons of liquid propellant in a massive fireball today. Simultaneously, American strikes hammer IRGC command and control infrastructure deeper inland, targeting underground bunkers and fiber optic nodes to sever all critical communications right now. JDAMs and small diameter bombs walk through depot after depot across 3 different provinces, and over 950 Shahed drones are now gone. Iran's internet drops to 4% of its normal capacity, while a hacked prayer app pushes a simple message to millions of local people. Today, if you found this strategic military analysis informative, please like the video and subscribe to the War Tech Pulse channel for more future content soon. Thank you very much for watching our documentary today, and we hope to see you again in our next deep dive into modern warfare later.